That's simple human sense.
Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance, your auto owner's insurance agent in Clinton, Farmer City, and Maroa. Stop by any of our locations or call 935-6605.
CEO Paul Scourin here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Call our family medicine clinic now to get your children's school physicals scheduled. We're accepting new patients of all ages. More info by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
News time, 9 minutes after the noon hour, or after the 7 o'clock hour, pardon me, on this Thursday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast. Brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Tuesday night, the Clinton City Council approved ordinances that are intended to clean up the city. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton Mayor Helen Michelossi told Regional Radio she appreciated everyone coming to the meeting to voice their opinions, whether in favor or opposed to the new nuisance ordinances. They passed those ordinances so they could have a jumping off point.
Well, I think the primary talk of the town, so to speak, here today is that the ordinance passed. The nuisance ordinance passed last night. I do appreciate everybody who came out and voiced their concerns or their support for this ordinance. I think the council, and I know for myself, we needed to pass an ordinance, so we had a jumping off point. We have a lot of cleanup work to do in our community, and having this ordinance in place helps us move forward with that. And so as we go forward, if we find that this part of the ordinance didn't work or that one doesn't work, then we can amend and adjust that ordinance. But we cannot make progress without that ordinance in place. So, yeah, it was accomplished last night. And so now I think we're just going to move forward and see where we go.
The mayor says their primary goal when it comes to a resident who may not be in compliance is to help get them into compliance rather than flood them with fines and citations to make money.
For example, when we move forward and if we have a situation where someone may or may not be in violation, we're about compliance here. We'd like everybody to be in compliance. It makes a nicer neighborhood and a nicer community for all of us. But if someone is struggling with that and we stop and talk to them, our first goal is to help them get into compliance. It's not to write tickets. It's not a moneymaker for the city. So if we come across a situation like that and that it looks like our ordinance is not going to be practically implemented, then we may have to go back and review that part of that ordinance. And it's a big ordinance. We may go back and look at that section of that ordinance and say, this needs to be reviewed by the council, put it back on the agenda, have that discussion, and if need be, make that change. These changes also, Ben, are not made in a silo. It's a group of people that talk about this.
Yeah.
Not one of us sits down and says, this is how this is going to be. It's not how it works. So we would come back together and discuss that.
City Administrator Tony Harris says part of the effort to clean up the city is for economic development. They want to attract businesses and families to Clinton to grow the community and its collective success.
In my opinion, a lot of this cleaning up, as you mentioned, and this ordinance kind of goes hand in hand with economic development. We want to see businesses grow. There are some struggling businesses there in the city of Clinton, and we'll talk more about that as well too. But we want to see economic development. Getting the city cleaned up goes hand in hand with economic development. I said that at the last meeting, and to make that work, we had to get some teeth in the game to really the ordinance, so we can start working on that and getting the city cleaned up. taking care of some of these abandoned buildings that we've already started on. That's been a challenge. And so we had to look at the ordinance, and it's not just the mayor and I, like she mentioned, sitting down to look at these. We've got our legal team, we've got other commissioners we're talking to. The ordinance is full of a lot of good information, but there's a lot of misinformation out there too. So, I would encourage the people to get the ordinance, take a look at it. If they have questions about it, give us a call and we can answer those questions. And like the mayor said, if they need to be tweaked later on, if we find out, we're always finding things out, once we deal with a certain situation that, that might need to be tweaked a little bit. So we'll look at it and perhaps we'll tweak it at that time, or at some point we'll look at those situations.
City administrator, while Mayor Michelossi and Harris spoke about the future of the ordinances, right now they are specifically focused on abandoned buildings in Clinton. Harris notes this is a project he began as soon as he took the role of city administrator.
Ben, I think that is mainly about the abandoned buildings and the things where Tony and the team here has already been working on cleaning up some issues, working with some families to help them. Again, it's about compliance to bring people into compliance. So that's really what I think the immediate future looks like.
It is. I mean, a lot of this work, like the mayor mentioned, I've started on with the mayor and with some of the commissioners, the abandoned buildings. We run into some snags because of the language in the ordinance. A lot of this, what's in the nuisance ordinance, is really nothing a lot of it has been changed, but a lot of it also is the same ordinance. People just they didn't really know it until it's kind of went public like this. So a lot of it is the same. But yes, it all goes back to keeping the city clean, and I started as soon as I took this position working on these abandoned buildings that have been sitting around for 15, 20 years. And, I've got a plan. Helen knows my plan to get some of them taken down. We're working on 2 right now. But because of the way the ordinance is written, we got held up on some snags because of legal issues. So we had to meet and discuss it and figure out a way to put it in there where we got some more teeth in the game to start taking care of some of these issues. And it's not about, we don't want to write tickets, we don't. And if people knew how much I get involved with working with the homeowner or the resident there, I'll go out and have a conversation with them first. And 99% of the time, I didn't know that. Yes, I'll take care of that problem. Or where can I get some help? And I'll take a half a day trying to figure out where they can get help to help with the situation, whatever it is or whatever it involves.
Many leaders within Clinton have reiterated the nuisance ordinances are not an effort to make money on the people of Clinton. The Clinton Board of Education approved a new e-learning plan Tuesday night at its monthly meeting. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton School Superintendent Drew Goebel told Regional Radio instead of having a snow day or emergency day, they utilize e-learning to continue education.
Like you said, every 3 years, if a school district wants to do an e-learning plan, again, this is instead of having a snow day or an emergency day, school continues electronically. So we had an existing 3-year plan, and that expired. So if we want the option to have an e-learning plan, we have to get another plan, and it has to be approved by the Illinois State Board of Education. The school board has to approve it,
right?
And then it goes to the state level, and then the state has to approve it. And if they don't like it, they're going to send it back, and they're going to say, "Hey, you need to make these revisions to it." And then and again, I've said this publicly. If we have bad weather, I'm going to call a snow day, not an e-learning day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do that. My plan is to do 3 snow days, or maybe extreme weather, because we, in Illinois, negative feels like -30, and when it gets really cold in February. I will publicly say I don't love e-learning. I think the very best possible instruction is going to be that face-to-face instruction,
right?
Human interaction.
Mm-hmm. Goebel referenced last year's water issues in which they had to turn to e-learning to keep the district schedule on pace. He feels this plan is a safety net should they use it.
Here's like last year, and let's hope this doesn't happen again. We had a water issue, and we used a couple e-learning days because of a water issue.
Mm-hmm.
And if we did not have that plan in place, and we weren't approved an e-learning day, and let's just say and then this happened down, I don't know if it's Mattoon or Effingham. They had a water issue, and it didn't get resolved for weeks. So that, let's hope that doesn't happen. But if we would ever have a situation where the kids could not go into school for weeks at a time, for whatever reason, if we didn't have an e-learning plan in place, we would have to go to school through June. And I don't think anyone wants to go to school through June. So I would almost just say this is a safety net that we could use if we need to. And and I'm going to give credit to several people here, the building leadership teams, the building principals, and the assistant superintendent of teaching and learning, Kara Jensen. All of them worked extremely hard. Even last semester, we started, this is not something that we just threw together over the summertime. Like this has taken months and months of adjustments to make it better from the previous plan.
Changes to this plan include taking devices home for 4th and 5th graders and giving the option to do live online instruction for 2nd and 3rd graders. Goebel adds the content plan will not change between in-person and online curriculum.
This go around, the 4th and 5th graders would take their devices home. Before, they would not take their devices home. They're going to have options for the 2nd and 3rd graders to do it as an option to do some live instruction. So they won't have their devices home, but if a parent has a phone, iPad, so if they choose to do that, that would be something different. Content, previously, not always did the content of the e-learning match up with the content of what the kids were learning when they were doing face-to-face instruction. So let's just say on Monday and Tuesday, they're studying, I don't know, the Egyptian pyramids, and then we have a snow day. Well, the content that they were doing for e-learning might not match up with what they were just studying. So now the teachers, and again, I give a lot of credit to the teachers. They're going to have to up their game to make it better. So we've made, even things like the high school schedule and the junior high schedule, like the timing of it all, we've adjusted the time to kind of to line up.
Goebel understands e-learning can be a headache for students, parents, and even educators, so the district is doing everything it can to make it easier for all parties.
We understand the e-learning is not convenient for parents because you have multiple kids. So we have tried our best to improve what we have. And I would say this, a lot of districts around us, they go straight to e-learning. It's snow day, e-learning. And that's just what they do. And that's fine. I like to do, I call it maybe a hybrid. We're going to do some snow days, and then we're going to, if we need to, and I'm hoping we use 0 e-learning days. I hope we have no snow days. We just have a year where there's not bad weather and we can just truck on through. There's no water issues. but again, if we didn't have an approved plan and something would happen, I think that puts us at risk of, we're creating a plan just in case.
Goebel reiterated the new e-learning plan had to be approved by the State Board of Education in the state of Illinois to move forward. You can learn more about that at CUSD15.org. News time is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday. Plenty more to get to coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to Fiber Fast Internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
School is right around the corner. Let us help you get to class in style at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. We have a great savings on the entire Chevy lineup, from the economic Trailblazer and Trax to the upscale Silverado or Tahoe. We have you covered. Our used and certified pre-owned cars are getting straight A's also. This school year, see all our inventory online. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Thursday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. September 1 means the first day of meteorological fall, with sights set on harvest in Illinois. DTN Ag meteorologist John Baronic was asked about the fall weather outlook. Meteorological fall runs September 1 through November 30. The Illinois Department of Transportation is hiring for seasonal employees to help with snow and ice removal this winter. The positions are mostly plow operators. Those hired are required to promptly respond to emerging weather situations and be ready to work in emergency conditions at any time, including nights, weekdays, and holidays. IDOT engineer Joe Monroe says they have openings this year more than in the past couple. In addition to having a CDL, applicants must pass a pre-employment physical, vision test, and drug and alcohol screening. The deadline to apply is Friday, August 22nd. For more information, visit illinois.jobs2web.com. If you're ready to pick an apple or enjoy a glass of wine, what does the USDA's initial production outlook on some fall harvested produce look like? Rod Bain has this report. News time is 29 minutes after 7 o'clock. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news comes your way next. A look at local sports on the way. Clinton Golf wins again yesterday.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Atlantic beaches off limit today from the Carolinas north to New York. Powerful Hurricane Erin is moving north. It's currently hammering North Carolina's Outer Banks and coastal Virginia, generating life-threatening surf. People being urged to stay out of the water. The Trump administration has scored another victory in courts in the fight over immigration enforcement. It opens the way for deportation of 60,000 illegal aliens from Central America and Nepal. After passing the Texas House, the state Senate today may take a vote on a Republican congressional redistricting plan that Democrats say they will challenge in court. Israel's military launching an assault on Gaza City and surrounding areas. The Israelis plan to take control of the area in order to wipe out Hamas. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 199 points. This is SRN News.
From the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Seth Lawrence with this look at sports. The Clinton boys and girls golf teams took home top honors at the Tri-Meet with Shelbyville and Ramsey at Eagle Creek Golf Course in Findlay Wednesday afternoon. Sophomore Riley Keelan was the low scorer for the Lady Maroons with a 48. Riley Fentress shot a 53, and Leah Mills carded a 54. On the boys' side, Griffin Utterback and Carter Cawthorn scored career lows with a pair of 40s. Briley Carter carded a 41, and Grady Douglas shot a 42. Ryan Pine and Evan Newberg each finished with 43s. The boys' team won by 12 strokes, finishing with a 163 to Ramsey's 175 and Shelbyville's 203. The Lady Maroons finished 30 strokes ahead of Shelbyville with a 217. The golfers return to Eagle Creek on Monday. A new wave of players will have their numbers called this fall to lead a longtime successful football program in Central Illinois. Shelbyville football coach Bill Duckett says the Rams will lean on a new wave of talent this fall as the Rams graduated a strong group of seniors last year.
Yeah, so we've got a new quarterback, Austin Ulmer. He was our JV quarterback the last 2 years, so he's got some experience there, but just we've had some really good older quarterbacks ahead of him, and so he's kind of been behind those guys, but now he has hit the ground running, and he's an exciting kid, a good leader for us, and is going to make really good decisions, got a good arm. And then at receivers, we graduated 3 of our 4, and so we've got new younger guys in those. We have one guy back, Jaden Weiss, who's our bigger receiver. He's about 6'5", 200, and can run well, catches the ball really well. And then those guys that are stepping in just, again, needed experience. They just had older guys ahead of them, and now it's their turn to get moving and see where they can go. And it's kind of the same thing defensively. They're all taking on those spots that the seniors graduating were in. So we just lost a lot of seniors that had a lot of experience last year, and so it's time for these younger ones to step up and get their opportunity. And then line-wise, we graduated 4 offensive linemen. Once again, big senior class, and so a lot of these guys were JV guys that just had a really talented group ahead of them, and now they're given the opportunity.
Because of the talent he has, Coach Duckett indicates his team will likely be a little more run-oriented than they've been in the past. The scheme will look the same, but the play calling may not.
Yeah, we're probably going to be a little bit more run-based than we've been at least last year. We threw the ball a bunch last year. I had 4 or 5 really good receivers that were big guys, could go out and catch the ball. And so we had in the last few, I think we'll probably be a little more run heavy. I mean, still probably 60-40 or, even 50-50, where last year we were probably 80% pass. But yeah, the dynamic there might change a little bit, but we've got a lot of guys are willing in the to block from our receivers, so that's always a good thing. If they're willing blockers, that's going to help open the run game up to the outside a little bit, and they're all guys that are going to give it their all. So that's what we want. If we can get guys that give us great effort and are good leaders out there, it makes everybody else on the field better. And so that's what we're asking for, is just the effort, the enthusiasm, good attitudes, and that goes a long ways toward winning football games. We may change the amount of, scheme wise, the amount of runs or certain formations. We're still going to be a spread team. 2 years ago when we went to the semifinals, we were probably an 80% run team, but it was still same formations, just kind of changing little schemes here, there, little adjustments with our fullback or tight end. But it still fits. So they're still learning the same stuff all the way through. We're not going to end up going to be a wing tee or a double wing team, because that's just not what I know and what I do. So we can make it all fit and adjust with the personnel, which I always, you got to adjust with the kids you have, but adjust in a way that fits your team.
For Coach Duckett, his seniors this year are stepping up from a leadership perspective and making the most of the opportunities they have.
I like the leadership. We've got some really good older leaders here that are seniors that have put in their time, just because they had a lot of guys ahead of them that were older, just maybe a little bit better, but they're great leaders, and they're pushing these guys that are younger. They're filling in the gaps and trying to get them to reach a level, because they know what the expectation is and what their goals are in terms of making the playoffs, and they want to try to achieve that as well. So great leadership qualities.
Sure. Excellent. Coach Duckett's team is not shying away from the tradition of making the postseason in Shelbyville, and says they are focused on getting back to that place. The LeRoy football program experienced some great success the last few years, led by a dynamic group of players that graduated in 2025. Coach B.J. Zalesnik is now working to mold a new wave of talent that will be inexperienced, but that doesn't mean the expectations change.
We got guys that are learning, and we do have two starters back. In our offensive backfield, we have our big fullback, Stephon Williams, back, and our wing, Jack Bogum, back, who are both dynamic, good football players. But, it all starts at the quarterback position, and we graduated our two-year starter at quarterback, and so that'll be a young man by the name of Brett Helfrich, who is a strong physical runner. Obviously, with our flexible and option system, he's more of a fullback, kind of like what Bo has been the last couple of years for us, a quarterback, and very similar style. So, a lot of the spring and summer, he has been in the classroom and studying and learning and trying to get that timing down that comes with our cadence and our motion. And then obviously all the reads that come with that at the quarterback position with the option as well. So he's been doing a good job. And our other wing position, it's kind of been a revolving door right now. We have several guys who are working out at that position. Remains to be seen who's going to end up winning that starting role. But we do have some depth there, and we do have some options. So it's been that piece. It's been fun. Every year it's different. Every team's different, and so it's exciting to have a new year and get to see new guys rise up to the challenge. Up front offensively, Nate McKinney comes back, who's an outstanding offensive lineman for us. He was an all-conference performer a year ago. We will probably run behind him quite a bit, but we've got a couple other seniors, Matt Carlson, Chase Stagey. Those guys, I think, may have been involved in your FFA day in the spring. They'll be starters as well for us, and a junior by the name of Isaac Howard, and then another junior by the name of Tyler Cotting will round out our starting offensive line.
The Panthers have nearly 30 players between the sophomore and junior classes, and Coach Zalesnik indicates there has been good growth in that group this summer.
Number one, they've done everything we've asked of them in the offseason to prepare themselves for the season. So that's all you can ask of a group is Okay. We're going to, as coaches, our job is to provide opportunity. And then it's up to you to take advantage of that opportunity, to max out that opportunity in terms of focus, effort, technique in the weight room, whether it's in camp, whatever the case may be. And they took full advantage of that. So they've done a good job of getting themselves ready to go, which not only physically, but that trains you mentally as well, some emotional growth there. So, and that was going to be really important for us because we knew that we were going to have a club that it wasn't just all seniors. It was going to be a mix of seniors, juniors, and a few sophomores that are going to throw in there as well. So I've been really impressed with them in terms of just showing up every day and putting the work in and having a good mindset. They do communicate well. They do treat each other well. There's a good culture there as far as that goes. The question is going to be that you never know until it's time, is when the lights come on and it's time to perform. And you do have a group that is made up of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds instead of all 18-year-olds. How are they going to respond against a senior-dominated team that is full of 17, 18-year-olds, and can they execute physically and then stay in the game mentally in a physical way against an experienced senior-laden team like that? So we'll find out. Yeah, good numbers. We've got 16 sophomores and I think 11 juniors. So there's good numbers there, good football players. And, for them, it's just going to be about getting a little bit better every day and getting a little bit better every game as they gain that experience. And, we always talk about you want to play your best football in your last game. So obviously the ultimate goal is can we play our best game in our last game? And that'll be our measurement in terms of the growth that we've seen throughout the year.
Coach Zalesnik still believes in his team and indicates they have the ability to be a good football team, but will have to limit the mistakes of a young, inexperienced team.
I think we're going to do what we've always done well. We're going to run the football well. Again, it'll come down to understanding of assignments and our rules, and that's the other thing, when you've got a group that is learning to play together, especially on the offensive line, everything has rules, and, the rules protect you from whatever your opponent is going to try to do against you. No matter what defensive front, no matter what pressures they bring, just follow the rules and you can block whatever you're going to see, So that's a big challenge for us this year, is being able to understand what we're seeing and then handle that. And if we can do that, we should be able to run the ball effectively again this year at a high level. And we're going to defend the run well. We kind of comes hand in hand with teams that run the football. They typically understand how to come downhill and defend the run. So I expect that we'll be tough to stop on the ground, and we'll be a physical run defense. And, we've got to, so then knowing what you're probably going to be good at, so what are some weaknesses that you've got to work on? And, obviously we've got to make sure that we can cover the deep ball. We can challenge for balls in the air, and that way teams can't, run a stop and go route and tie a game up in 10 seconds when we just went on a 10-minute drive. That's the kind of thing. We got to get stops defensively, get off the field. So we can't give up third and longs. We can't give up bombs downfield. And that's what we always challenge our defense with to get those stops. But no, we've got a tough schedule, but it'll be a fun season.
The Panthers host Ridgeview Lexington to open the season on Friday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Partly cloudy skies with fog at times early today with a high of 81. Northeast winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 62. Tonight, mainly clear skies with fog at times. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times, with fog in spots early tomorrow. Highs level off around 82. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, 65.
Let's check Ag News on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLois Yonking. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced a revision to diesel exhaust fluid guidelines to prevent diesel on-road trucks and off-road equipment from severe power loss after running out of DEF or a system sensor failure. Starting with model year 2027, EPA requirements state that all new diesel on-road trucks must be engineered to avoid sudden and severe power loss after running out of diesel exhaust fluid. To fix the problem for vehicles already in use, EPA's new guidance, developed in collaboration with manufacturers, will work to ensure that the necessary software changes can be made on the existing fleet. When DEF runs out or a system sensor fails, current systems can force a vehicle to drastically reduce speed or become inoperable. In many cases, vehicles are limited to as little as 5 miles an hour within hours of fault, causing significant disruptions in logistics or for agriculture or construction. Since 2010, most on-road diesel trucks and many types of non-road equipment have used selective catalytic reduction systems that inject DEF into exhaust streams to reduce nitrous oxide emissions. You can read more about this from the article online at farmweeknow.com. The American Farm Bureau Federation called the new guidelines common sense. Also in Washington, Brazil is in the U.S. trade crosshairs twice. A senior trade senator says there's a good reason for that, as our Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
Ag Senator and Judiciary Chair Chuck Grassley says the Section 301 probe just launched against Brazil serves as backup in case the president's tariffs, including 50% against Brazil, are overturned.
It's going to end up in the Supreme Court, but just in case the Supreme Court would say that the president has acted way beyond the power Congress gave in 1977 law, we got this 301 case to back up injustices that Brazil is giving with trade with the United States.